Subscribe to our YouTube channel for in-depth interviews of India Inc. and press the bell icon so that you do not miss our updates.
Hello and welcome to Nirmal Bang, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Hiral Daria. We have with us Teresa John, CFA and Research Analyst, Economist at Nirmal Bang, joining me. Teresa, welcome to the show. My first question coming to you is with regards to the report that you've written on trends for the post-pandemic decade. Uh, Overall, to start off with, what is the key theme of this report that you've written?
Yeah, so this report is basically looking at the post-pandemic decade and how, after the global financial crisis, there was acceleration in some trends. For example, the rise of the sharing economy, and how post-pandemic we probably will have a move towards a reduction of human interface and collaborating in isolation. So that's what the basic crux of the report is about.
Correct. So clearly, from here on overall, if you could just help us understand which are the emerging trends that you have been witnessing, where you will see a change post-pandemic era, and what will it be its implication? So, for example, to start off with regards to, as you mentioned, reducing human interface, taking reduction in human interface into consideration, we're moving towards automation as well as robotics. So, how would that change and what would its implication be?
Yeah, so as you rightly pointed out, the whole move is towards reduction in human interface. And so one of the ways in which you could do that is through automation to a larger extent, and robotics. So while the pandemic has necessitated the need for human interaction, in general, when we have a recession as well, because there is a pressure on margins, people tend to cut back costs, and one way that they do it is by rethinking their work processes and reducing the basically reducing their labor costs. So even in past recession, we have seen a trend towards greater automation and mechanization, and the COVID-19 induced recession has necessitated it even more because of the need to reduce human interaction. But if I were to look at India per se, I think we are relatively insulated from this trend. The reason being that over 50% of our workforce is still in jobs. I mean, like in jobs like construction and maintenance work, which is mainly outside. So it's not in closed spaces where there is a lot of human interaction. So to that extent, when compared to the Western world, India will be relatively insulated. But I think even in India, there is a trend towards automation, basically to kind of exploit the efficiencies that come in through automation. And I think over time you will see an increase in automation even in India. The second trend that we are seeing to reduce human interface, I mean, like all of us would have noticed that, because there is a move towards using digital channels, whereas as opposed to physical channels, even for your daily necessities like your grocery shopping, your online learning, even into the rise of, you see the rise of telemedicine, and even for our for people like us who are doing a lot of work remotely, because I mean, this particularly in the services sector, there is a lot of work that can be done remotely.
Absolutely, that's very rightly pointed out that with regards to automation, you have the manufacturing sector, which is becoming pretty much acquainted to it. And if you see digitization, you have e-commerce platforms which are seeing a huge rise. In fact, the online transactions have gone up as well. And as you mentioned, we are seeing, majority of us are doing our groceries, etc., online. Now, with this, another aspect that I've picked up from your report is where you are seeing a shift to the gig economy. What would you actually, how would you explain this for a layman?
So the gig economy is like, rather than having a permanent job, you are, to put it very simply, it's sort of freelancing. So the
Hmm.
freelancers in the economy will go up. I think that's the best way to put that. But so this is also linked to the shift to digital. So you have the larger number of jobs being created in sectors like transportation and warehousing, where people are not necessarily on a full-time payroll. They are employed for a certain period of time. For example, if I were to again just take an example for maybe the demand for delivery boys would go up during the Diwali season because of the Amazon sales and the other sales that you see. So there is a surge in demand for delivery personnel, and that and they are mainly employed for a period of time, and then once the demand reduces, they're actually may not be laid off, but the services are no longer in demand. So that is how I think, you'll see a greater demand for gig economy workers going forward.
Right. And Teresa, with this, another aspect that the pandemic has brought in is acceleration with regards to where remote working is concerned. Uh, how for how long do you think remote working is something which is going to be here to stay, and people will probably not really visit offices that often?
So I think that the shift towards remote working is here to stay. I think once the pandemic sort of recedes, in India we are not exactly in the midst of second wave, but we are seeing a move towards the second wave. So probably I think till the pandemic recedes, remote working is definitely here to stay. After the pandemic recedes, I think for a section of the population, the remote working will continue to stay even after the pandemic recedes. Again, when you compare the global workers, the percentage that can work remotely, particularly in the developed world, it's around 20 to 25%. In India, as a share of the total workforce, the percentage that can work remotely, say for 5 days a week, is only about 5% of the workforce. But in sectors like IT and financial services, where the work is mainly done on a computer, there is no real difference where you sit in the office or you sit at home. And for some people are finding that productivity is actually increasing through remote working. So for that section of the population, remote working, I think, will continue to stay even after the pandemic, although the intensity might reduce. But compared to the global average, the Indian average will be lower for the percentage of remote workers as a share of the total workforce.
Right. And with remote working, adoption of digital technology is something which has been accelerated as well. Do you think it is here to stay? And if yes, do you think IT as a sector in India will also get a boost?
Right. So, as I said, in India, the share of the remote workforce will be low when compared to the global average. But because of this global trend towards remote working, there is a greater demand for digital collaboration services. Mainly for internal working, but also for interaction with customers, etc. So, this shift to digital will increase the demand. I think, at least in our view, for the Indian IT services companies. So Indian IT services companies, I think, will benefit from this global move towards remote working.
Right. Another aspect, Teresa, that you've mentioned in your report is with regards to where deurbanization is concerned. How relevant will that be for a country like India?
Yeah, so deurbanization is a trend that we're actually seeing, particularly in countries like the US, where people are moving from the city centers away to the suburbs and to the smaller cities. In India, also we've seen a huge migration from urban areas to rural areas, which is widely written about. I don't think for maybe beyond FY22, you will see the rural growth sustaining above urban growth. People will come back to urban areas. But what you will see is that metros may grow at a slower rate when compared to your tier one, tier two, tier three cities. So tier one is everything excluding metros, and then tier two and tier three cities mainly have a population below 1 million. So those cities will grow faster than metros, which is, that is quite a likely scenario. And you will see say a more widespread distribution of wealth beyond metros going into the smaller cities. So while metros may grow at somewhere around 2%, you might see the smaller towns growing, smaller cities growing at 3 to 5%. Whereas urban growth, rural growth will eventually slow down to around 1%. Although now rural growth is far above urban growth because of the pandemic.
Right. And apart from these trends, any other trends that we should be watching out for, especially in terms of health and hygiene, education, technology, or even for that matter, home improvement?
Yeah, so because of this de-urbanization trend and remote working, what is actually happening is that people are demanding larger homes. I mean, with more facilities as they're moving out to the suburbs. So there is a demand for integrated townships, and even if, particularly in the US and globally, you are seeing trend towards home improvement. People are investing more in their homes. So I think in India as well, the trend is catching on. Obviously, online learning has seen a huge surge because of the pandemic. Some of that will normalize, once the pandemic recedes, because particularly in the primary and secondary education,
Mm.
learning is not that effective because the younger children need to, go and actually actually benefit more from physical learning, particularly in terms of concentration. But online learning may be here to stay for upskilling, particularly as people are looking to move jobs, or even for corporate training, they want to increase their skills. And the other trend that we think, health and hygiene, I think that is here to stay. So whereas in most of the other areas, people are very price conscious, this is one area where they are actually willing to spend. So people have become more brand conscious when it comes to takeaways, when it comes to buying their consumer staples, like your rice and wheat. They prefer going for branded and packaged product, whereas earlier they were willing to buy loose cereals and loose pulses. So this is one area where people have started becoming more willing to spend, and that I think is here to stay. So you will a lot of your consumer companies benefiting from this trend. Finally, another trend that we are seeing as a result of the pandemic is a move or greater willingness to spend on wellness. This is particularly in the higher income group. So, physical, emotional, and mental wellness is becoming a priority.
Mm, mm.
People are willing to spend more on wellness tourism, and we're seeing trend towards Ayurvedic products and greater demand for Ayurvedic products and wellness tourism. And even within homes, people are seeking out greener spaces, and they want to be close to nature. So this is a trend that we're seeing largely in the higher income groups, and this will probably stay even beyond the pandemic.
Right. So, very lastly, Teresa, the trends that you've mentioned right now, do you think they are for the positive and we are not going to see any major negative impact of it?
Largely, that some of the trends are positive, but I think there is what I call a middle income squeeze, because the trend that we are seeing in the share of middle wage workers in the global economy is going to actually reduce, but the share of the higher wage workers is going to increase. I mean, it's good because the share of higher wage workers in the employment is going to increase, but the problem is that a lot of the middle wage workers will not be able to move up to the higher wage jobs. There is going to be a middle income squeeze. Even in India, the share of the middle class will remain around 66% of the population, even going up to 30. So this is and some of the estimates done by BCG. India will be again slightly different from the rest of the world because we are largely an agrarian economy even now, and so you will have see a greater percentage of the workforce moving from agriculture into manufacturing, and because of that we will see a slight rise in the middle income jobs when compared to the rest of the world. But overall, I think globally, for the middle of the workforce, there is going to be a challenge, and that section of the workforce, I think, will continue to remain a very value conscious market even going forward.
Absolutely. I think let's see how these trends actually pan out as well. Thank you, Teresa, so much for joining us on the show. Pleasure discussing the report with you as well. Thank you.